So first, before everybody else joins us and asks a bunch of questions, let's see what we can address. I want to tell you about a couple of stories. Okay, so let's start again. Okay, so hi everyone, good to join us. We are live on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. And right now we can ask any questions that you guys have. Usually the engagement is on TikTok, so I'll pay attention to that more. But before we get started on your questions, feel free to put your questions there, hopefully only once, please. So let's chat and discuss a couple of things that we have seen happen recently on naturalization cases. Okay, so naturalization, for those of you who do not know, is the process through which a foreign national who has been a permanent resident for either 3 years if you got it through marriage to a US citizen, or 5 years in all other cases, is the process through which this permanent residents obtain citizenship in the United States. So a couple of developments there. For example, citizens of Germany have not been able to obtain citizenship in the United States without losing German citizenship unless they obtained a permit from the German government first. Well, that has changed. The proposal that the law that passed in March was published in a Federal Law Gazette in Germany, and beginning with June 26 of 2024, German citizens can apply for a second citizenship elsewhere without being afraid of losing their citizenship in Germany and without having to request a permit to apply for a second citizenship. So that is great news. Saves time, saves money, and nothing to worry about, right? Now, on a separate note, what happens when you apply for citizenship? You go for your naturalization interview and you don't get a response. What happens at that time? So, if you don't get a response, generally speaking, after an interview, the government has a certain number of days to make a decision on your case. What we have seen happen lately is some clients get an additional request for evidence, but it's not a request for evidence granting you, say, 87 days to respond. It's a notice of continuance, which only gives you 30 days. So obviously 30 days is not the same amount of time that you would have to obtain the documents that the government wants. So keep that in mind, okay? And it's best always to submit the initial naturalization application package with a full documentation. So whatever you think the government might ask, provided, or apply and then prepare and have it with you at the time you go for the interview. Now, let's say you get that request. What are you going to do to get those documents? Generally speaking, the documents that are requested by the government are as follows. Proof of travel, if you traveled a little bit too much, maybe outside the United States, or you visited one of those countries on the terrorist watch list. They want to see your tax transcripts, tax and wage transcripts for the good moral character period. So it's either the 3 years or the 5 years. They would want to see that you listed all your children, and that includes biological, adopted, stepchildren, your wife's children, every other child that's out there. They want to see those, and sometimes they request certified copies of the children's birth certificate. Remember, on taxes, they don't want tax returns, they want tax transcripts, because that shows not only that you filed, but that the government acknowledged it, okay? So keep that in mind when you are filing for your naturalization. Obviously, if you had any criminal issue whatsoever, you need to disclose that, and you need to provide certified records of your record of conviction, which contains of certain documents, okay? Do not give them more than they ask for. Don't give them more just because you think it's good. Like, we have clients who give us the arrest report. The arrest report is not part of the record of conviction, okay? So it's not. then don't submit it until you are being asked. And when you are being asked, there is a legal argument you can make that it shouldn't be included. And if it is included, it is not part of the record and it should not be considered. Okay, so let's talk now. Let's see if you guys have any questions whatsoever, and let's address them. All right, fabulous. Well, look, we have so many people here so far. Fabulous. Okay, so let's see. I'm in Kenya. I have a passport. I'm looking for a job. Great. As soon as you get a job offer, you find an employer in the United States who is willing to petition for you. You can find an immigration attorney willing and able to help you with your immigration process. Biggest misconception for people abroad is that immigration lawyers can help them get a job. We cannot and are ethically not allowed to help anyone get a job in the United States. However, once you do find employment, you and the employer agree, you enter into an agreement for employment, depending on the date, then they can sponsor you. And they can sponsor you, Lenora, either for temporary work visa or for permanent residency. And during the pendency of your application, while the application is pending, you cannot be in the United States or working for that employer. And that is the biggest issue for the employer, because think about it, guys. An employer who wants to petition for someone, they are trying to fill a business need that they have right now. They are not trying to fill a business need in 6 months or 5 years, okay? Because that's how long the processes take, depending on the visa type, okay? For permanent residency, it could take anywhere from 2 to 5 years. If you are from India, Philippines, China, or Mexico, even longer than that. The lower skilled you are, the longer it takes. And for temporary visas, options are very limited, okay? So for temporary and seasonal work, we are looking at H-2B. It's limited to 6 months, and you have to apply about a year in advance. H-1B, you have to be selected in a lottery first and then apply. And then we have investment visas and L1 visas, okay? There are some for entertainers, priests, and so on. Those are rare, okay? I mean, rare in the grand scheme of things. So hopefully that addressed your question, Lenora. Aish or Ish, is VAWA also for victim of undocumented immigrant? I do not understand your question, so let me address it, okay? Violence Against Women's Act applies to spouses, parents, or children of permanent residents or U.S. citizens where the victim has been abused, and that could be physical, emotional, financial, psychological abuse, okay, by the permanent resident or the U.S. citizen, by permanent resident or U.S. citizen. So no, the victim cannot be a victim of or a spouse of somebody else who's still undocumented, just like the victim, okay? Now, if you are undocumented and you have been abused by a U.S. citizen or permanent resident who happens to be your spouse, parent, or child, under certain circumstances, VAWA is an option for you. If you have been a victim of an undocumented immigrant, are you victim of a crime? Has there been a police report? Have you cooperated with law enforcement in bringing that person to court, okay, and help the prosecutor? You might have then a claim for a U visa. Now, if you have been a victim as an if you are the undocumented immigrant and have been the victim of sex trafficking or labor trafficking, then you may be eligible for a T visa. That is a trafficking visa, okay? T as in Thomas, okay? Trafficking. So it really depends on your situation. What I can tell you, okay, your best option is really to meet with an immigration attorney who's going to discuss your case, look at your past, look at your history, criminal history, entry history, immigration history, all your family, your education, everything, and the facts that you have been a victim of certain things, and see what would be the best option for you. You're not going to get that answer here, okay? Sachin, I have my 10 years cancellation of removal grant by IJ, but it's still showing pending online. Any issue whatsoever that you have with the immigration court, you should not even try to attempt to fix it on your own. That is not something you want to do. Okay, so if you have been granted indeed a cancellation of removal, then you probably did have an immigration attorney. You are eligible to now get the actual green card, but you need to have an immigration attorney help you with that, because if the status online doesn't match the order that you receive from the immigration judge, you will have a problem and you're applying for a green card and they could deny it because they may think they don't have jurisdiction. Okay, give us a call, guys, if you have any concerns that you want an immigration attorney to address with you. Our number is 954-466-0070, and we help immigrants everywhere. Doesn't matter where you are located. So give us a call. We have clients in all states and hundreds of countries. Okay, so Arlington wants to know, what is my registration address? I mean, I have been changed apartments and also the address. You're gonna need to you need to look at your application. Your main address is the one that you had on your application. If you have moved since then, you have to notify USCIS within 10 business days, even if you just change the apartment. Now, if you change the address, you absolutely have to. Changing the apartment is the same as changing the address. So you do need to let immigration know, okay? So your registration address, okay, you have an old address and you have the new address, you need to change that, okay? You should do that for every single receipt. So let's say you filed for a green card and you have the green card application, the I-130, the work permit, advanced parole. You need to change your address for all of them, not just for one, okay? And what happens when you move from New Jersey to New York? Depending on your address, okay, depending on your case type and your address, the case will be moved to that office. So that's going to delay your case significantly. I always tell my clients, if you can avoid moving, don't move for that reason. Let's put it this way. We are in Oakland Park. It's one of the fastest in the country, okay? Meaning Florida. Depends. Even in Florida, it's a big difference. You move to San Francisco is significantly slower, okay? And I just had a client move to California because she couldn't wait. So yeah, she's not happy right now. Her case it's going to add another 2.5 years to her case. Guys, don't make those decisions, okay, on your own. Talk to your immigration attorney, okay? You don't have one, give us a call, book a strategy session, okay? But seriously, don't make those. Rosie, please, how long does it take for USCIS to review an I-130 application? It depends on the category. It could take anywhere from 9 months, and we have some that are pending at 6 years, okay? It depends on your category. If you are a US citizen filing for an adult child, or married child, or a brother or sibling, USCIS is in no rush at all, because the process could take 15 years. Not rush at all. Okay, so Ms. Vix, hi, just wondering how long it will take to get the date after oath ceremony will be scheduled. Okay, I'm assuming you mean how long after your interview date you will get your oath ceremony. It really depends. Every office is different. It depends are you changing your name or you're not changing your name? So let's say you had your interview at your local office and they give you the notice of interview results and they say you passed English civics, and they'll let you know. Assuming you're not changing your name, then you are going for an administrative oath ceremony. An administrative oath ceremony generally is scheduled within the next 60 days. So you should be getting something within 60 days. And it's not scheduled for far out, maybe another month or so after that. Now, if you are changing your name, that's a judicial oath ceremony. So that means a judge has to administer that, because that is a legal change in your name. And those are administered maybe a few times a year. So you may wait a couple of more months, so instead of 60 days, you may have to wait for 5 months for that. Where we are, sometimes they move really fast. Within 2 months, you get it. Sometimes if you just missed it, you might wait 3-4 months. Okay, so Ms. Vix, hopefully that helped you. I was brought into the US by my US father. I was single over 21, but I was married in secret. Well, you were not single if you were married. You were over the age of 21, so you filled out your own visa application. So what did you do on that visa application? Did you lie about your marital status? Are you now trying to bring your spouse here? What is going on? That is very complicated, and please do not put any more information about that in this forum. It's very easy to trace for some people to see who you are, and you never know. So just be careful. Give an immigration lawyer a call because you have a problem. You committed fraud in order to obtain an immigration benefit, and it's not your dad's fault, it's yours because you were 21. Okay, so give us a call, 954-466-0070, and let's see how we can help you, okay? Kishab, do you predict visa bulletin for the month? I do not predict because I'm no magician and I don't do the glass ball. But what you can do is usually on the 15th of the month or so, they post the visa bulletin for the following month. So for example, on July 15th or so, they will have the visa bulletin for the month of August, okay? So let me see if they announced it already, but I doubt it, okay? Let's see. Since we are here, but you know how to check the visa bulletin, right? Yeah, so August has not yet been announced. Let's see. No, it says July, it's still the current one, upcoming, coming soon. So give it a couple of days and it's going to be there. You can't predict. And here's the thing, you can't predict. Just because it's moving a month doesn't mean your category is moving a month. And the priority dates could progress or regress. Sometimes everybody's waiting for the visa bulletin because they're like 1 month before it and they think next month it's going to come, and then the visa bulletin comes out and they moved back 6 months. And it does happen. It happens quite a bit. So please be careful, okay? If you have questions, you don't know how to process it, you're obviously, okay, Kishab. So check the visa bulletin around the 15th of the month and it will tell you what it's going to be for the next month. Hi, Kiran. My contact number, it's in my profile on TikTok. Okay, you guys see it. It's right there. And also it's 954-466-0070. Nikki, what's the process of filing for green card if you came to the United States as an asylum relative? Well, it depends. When were you listed on the asylum application? Did you come with follow to join? How exactly did you come? What was your age at the time? All of those make a difference, okay? Follow to join, if you don't do it right, you could screw it up for a long period of time. So don't try to do that on your own. Contact an experienced immigration attorney and do that with them, okay? Bombard, I have J1 waiver pending for more than a year. Can I apply for a green card? No, you cannot. You have to wait for the waiver to be approved, okay? More than a year, it depends. Where is it pending? Did you get the no objection letter from the consulate and is now pending with USCIS, or is pending at the consulate? Where exactly is it? Getting married in Dubai, I'm a US citizen, and if I file a petition for her, how long it's gonna take to bring her here? Well, first, do you need to get married? Is that set in stone, or can you do fiancé visa? Because by far, right now, fiancé visa is significantly faster. So if you have not yet gotten married, you don't have a wedding planned, just don't. There are different options. Give us a call. Let's plan it properly by knowing what the considerations are. What do we need to worry about, okay? But let's say you must get married. Okay, I-130 petition could take anywhere between 6 months and 2 years, and then it's going to be stuck at National Visa Center for another 6 months or so. And she is not even going to be in line for an interview in Dubai until her case is what's called documentarily qualified. Once she's documentarily qualified, she's in line for an interview, and only at that point is going to matter how fast the Dubai consulate or embassy moves, okay? Until then, that's not where you're going to save time. Can parole in place help siblings? No. In the Army, can parole in place help with siblings? If you're in the Army, yes. Okay, so Kenny, that makes a difference. Here is the problem with that. There are so many problems with that when it comes to siblings, because siblings take about 20 years until the visa becomes current. And if they are in the United States undocumented, okay, they cannot apply for that parole in place, okay? If the I-130 has been pending and they've been here for all this long time and whatever, usually it doesn't, okay? So what you want to do is have a consultation, a legal strategy session with an immigration attorney and see what are the best options for your siblings. Are they single? Are they married? How old are they? What's their education? How did they enter the country? How long they've been here? Do they have other options than you? Okay? Because you may not be the number. You may not be the one who can help them best. Okay? They might have better options. If they don't, they don't. Then we look at that. Okay? Our number again, 954-466-0070. I don't need to type it. It's in my profile, guys. Shaney, can anything be done to expedite a pending EAD that's been taking about 10 months? Well, yes and no. So you have a EAD that's been pending for 10 months. If you have a job offer and the employer writes a letter that says, I need this guy because without this guy, my business is going to die, then yes, maybe. Other than that, we haven't really seen expedite requests approved much, okay? So 10 months, check the processing times online, and they will tell you by the receipt number if you can file an inquiry or not. If you can't even file an inquiry, nothing's gonna happen. Gina, have been in process for 1.5 years, and every now keeps changing for our adopted child. Okay, so here's the thing with the adopted children. Okay, first, what is the age of the child? Second, what country are you adopting the child from? Is that country a Hague country or non-Hague country? The procedures are totally different. If you did not follow the Hague procedures and it's a Hague country, that kid is not coming. Okay? If you did follow the procedures, very unlikely, because they are extremely difficult. Very few immigration attorneys do them because they are so difficult. I don't do them. Okay? A year and a half is not even that long. Okay? And it really depends on the country. It depends on so much. Oh my God, so much. Talk to an immigration attorney who handles international adoptions. Okay? Not only international adoption, immigration for international adoptions. Okay? If you need a referral, okay, give us a call. Again, our information is on the link. Give us a call and we can refer you to someone. Okay? Yeah, a year and a half, not that good, but I'm concerned that the kid is aging out and the kid may not be coming if you didn't follow the proper procedures. We are 3 months, 4 days away from the priority date becoming current, F2A visa category. I understand. That's what happened. So this month, it could actually move 3 months this month for August, or it might go back to 12 months. You don't know. So you actually have to wait until it's published. My cousin's dad brought her to the US and she was under 21 as an asylum relative that is a citizen. Okay, so she is a follow to join. She came here. She was under the age of 21. So did she apply for the green card? She didn't apply for the green card yet. Why didn't she apply? Okay, so get all those questions. Please contact an immigration attorney. Guys, you don't have to call me if you don't want to. That's fine. But please work with an immigration attorney. Most of the time, when I have a consultation with a client and they end up not hiring, it's your right. That's fine. I hear from them 2 to 3 years later, telling me that they are stuck in a process, or they got denied, or there is a request for evidence that's asking for the moon and the stars and the Holy Spirit. I don't know. And sometimes they screwed up so bad that it's going to cost them more to try to fix it. And sometimes I cannot even fix it. Okay. Some of these fact patterns, some of these questions that you guys are posting are easy. Okay. But easy doesn't mean it will not have negative ramifications if it's not done right. Okay. Nikki, your cousin's dad, your cousin should be contacting an immigration attorney. We don't know how much unlawful presence she accumulated. We do not know dates. We don't have dates of approval of the asylum. We don't know if the asylum is pending in immigration court. We do not know anything. I cannot give you that answer. That's also very common. We get questions. I don't understand why I need to have a whole legal strategy session with the attorney to answer just one simple question, such as, what's the process if my cousin who was under 21 as asylum relative wants to get the green card? For me or any immigration attorney to be able to properly advise you of your options, I need to ask you about 100 questions, okay? And that takes time, and that takes reviewing of documents, okay? It's very similar to going to a doctor and saying, hey, I think I have cancer. The doctor is not going to be able to confirm or deny if you have cancer without running tests, without filling you up, seeing you got it, you don't have it, without trying a couple of things, without seeing your entire medical history. It's very similar, okay? You may not have cancer, you may just have heartburn, right? Let's see. Momo, can dependent pending asylum, not main applicant, apply for emergency advance parole to home country? Do not ever go back to your home country when your asylum is pending, period. Just don't. There is no emergency, okay? Here is what happened. We had one case. It wasn't even asylum, but okay. We had one case and the person applied for emergency advance parole because her mom was dying, okay? And she had medical records and she had a letter from the doctor that said, you need to get here as soon as possible because she's going, okay? She's dying, okay? She went for the emergency advance parole. The appointment was 3 days later. And she died the night she was going for the interview, the mother, okay? She went for the emergency advance parole. The officer said, well, it's no longer an emergency because she died. She's like, but I need to go to the funeral. That's not an emergency. She's already dead. Okay, so the standard for an emergency advance parole is pretty high. Now, to actually go back to your home country from which your parent or spouse or whatever applied for asylum, that pretty much negates all the facts that are in that asylum application. So your credibility and the main applicant's credibility is going to be called into question. How much persecution are you really suffering in your home country? How are you afraid to go back so that we can give you asylum if you just went back? So that's what happens. Don't do it. Don't do it. We've got denied on K1 visa. We've been 4 years together already. If you were denied a K1 visa, there is something in the foreign national's history that prevents them from coming to the United States, and getting married may or may not fix it. Okay, if they were in the United States and they lied, said they didn't, if they lied on a previous visa application, if they had an issue with the law that they didn't disclose, maybe either one of you was married or not married. Maybe you, the US citizen, are a sexual offender. That's the only thing, by the way, that prevents someone from sponsoring a foreign national, being a sexual offender as a US citizen, okay? So talk to an immigration attorney. See why that K-1 was denied. You've been together 4 years, so the good faith of your relationship, it's not the issue. Something else is the issue. Let's figure out what the issue is. Let's see that. Let's fix that. And then we worry about it, okay? How long is the work permit taking? Depending on the category. We just had one approved based on pending asylum, took 3 days. And we have others that are waiting 9 months based on marriage. So you don't know. It depends on your location and other things. Helly Christian, my wife's green card request says 22 months. Will it really take that long? Depends on where you are located. Depends on how strong your application was when you initially submitted it. Okay. Your best chances of having a green card approved without an interview is to submit all the documents, all the documentation, all the evidence, okay, in the beginning. So I don't know what you submitted in your initial one. Maybe it's eligible for a waiver of the interview requirement, but it depends on your application package, okay? Sometimes you can get it approved without an interview. Good luck, praying. And if not, then you wait as long as it takes. The problem is you will not even be able to file an inquiry to see why is it taking that long until the priority date, until the inquiry date passes. How many more years left for 2009 F4 sibling visa for India? Oh boy, those take forever. Let me tell you. 2009, so F4 India, at least 3.5 years. Okay, and that's until you can apply, and then you're stuck at the National Visa Center for another year or so. Okay, so yeah, we're looking at another 3.5 to 4.5 years. I don't know, Bert, I don't know what form D all plus means. Can IJ cancel NTA? Okay, that's a legal question because of Torres versus Barr. No, I'm not answering that one. Hey, I would like to bring my uncle and his family to US from Afghanistan. You cannot bring your uncle. There is no option for that. Lily, I'm waiting for a green card, but they asked me for more evidence. So how long does it take after submitting? As long as they want, which is why I even told the other person earlier, what you want is to submit the initial application the first time full with everything that they want, okay? They can take as long as they want. So after you submit, you're back in the queue. Sometimes they make a decision within a couple of months. I have one where we responded to the request for evidence 2.5 years ago, and we are still waiting. And unfortunately, you can't even file an inquiry because their processing time say you can't. Nana, it's possible to get a refusal after the interview without any paper saying that anyone tells you. A refusal, it's not a denial. A refusal is they are waiting for your medical, they are doing background checks. Maybe you're from one of those countries that are on the terrorist watch list. I don't know, so don't tell me here, okay? It really depends, okay? Yes, most of the time, you do not get a letter that tells you why. All right, let's see. If I apply for the new law, there is no new law yet. It's an executive order. It's canceled by the courts. Will I be deported? You can't even apply if it's canceled by the courts. So that's not the way that works. You wait until it's published in the Federal Register, okay? And whether you'll be deported or not depends on your history. We do not yet know exactly who can, who cannot do it, and so on. I'm a resident here in the US. Aman wants to know, can I bring my brother and sister? No, you cannot. When you become a citizen, you can sponsor your brother and sister, and it's going to take who knows how long. Likely, they are now processing applications filed in March 2008. So let's say it takes you 5 years to become a citizen, and then we are looking at 16 more years. That's what you're looking at. They'll be here when they retire. However, If your brother and sister are highly educated, they get degrees, maybe they can sponsor themselves, maybe they can find an employer willing to petition for them. Depending on your country, they may be able to do investor visas. Give us a call, okay? Can one apply for both TPS and asylum? Yes, and you should. Now, nobody can apply for TPS and asylum unless they are already in the United States. Now, Aman, based on that, I'm assuming you are from Yemen. Where are you from? Advance parole approved. My granny is sick. I want to visit her back home. Do I need to give proof? If it's already approved, no, you do not need to. Now, if your advance parole is approved and your case that's pending, it's an asylum case, even if your grandmother is sick, I would still tell you not to go. Okay, the one you'll love to hate. I love that name. If my daughter files for my husband, can he file for me and kids and we all live for the US together? It depends. What's the immigration status of your daughter? Okay. I'm assuming your husband is her biological father and he has been listed on your daughter's birth certificate from the beginning, from when she was born. Your daughter can file for you. Your daughter cannot file for your husband if he's not the biological father. Okay? Because you said my daughter filed for my husband. So why would your daughter file for your husband instead of you? Now, the problem with your whole situation is not even that. It's the fact that you have minor children. Okay? And the minor children will not be able to come with you at the same time. So this needs to be done properly with the proper timing, because otherwise you're going to be in a situation where you guys need to come to the United States so you get a residency. And then the rest of the family, the children, come later on. So this needs to be properly planned, okay? It happens all the time, and those kids later are going to have problems getting residency, okay? Okay, will my mom's I-130 filed by my aunt in 2012, will my brother age out at 21 as a derivative? That's a tough question, okay? Probably. Look into seeing if they have other options, okay? Seriously, don't look into seeing what your options are for your brother. Try to get him here in other ways, because this is not going to work. How long is the approval for the I-130 marriage-based green card? How long does it take to get an approval? It depends. It could take anywhere between 9 months and 4 years, but depends. Depends where, Rania. How long it takes K1 to go to US. It depends on the local consulate. That's a multi-step process. The first initial petition could take less than 2 months. And then depending on the consulate, some consulates don't even process K1 visas anymore. Okay, they just halted them. So if you haven't started the process, you may want to consider other options. If you have started the process, because I don't know your country, I don't know anything, then there are ways to check the processing times, okay? You can check the processing time for the I-129F, and then you check the processing time for your own consulate, okay? Can I travel to Mexico? You asked me that question last time we were live. Can I travel to Mexico before my oath ceremony on July 18th? And what did I tell you last time? Yes, you can. You just need to disclose it. I remember exactly your question. I'm a US-born citizen and my husband is in Nigeria. Okay. Nigeria is considered one of those countries with high fraud occurrences, so your application might take longer than normal, okay? I have I-130 approval, so can I apply for my wife? I don't know what that means. I don't have enough information. I need more. It's an adjustment of status case. I'm just scared to not be readmitted if I leave, and that is a very good reason to be scared. And I explained this on my previous live, and I explained it so many times. Your advance parole document is issued by USCIS. It only says, if you are coming back in the United States and you are readmitted, then we are going to not consider your adjustment of status application abandoned, and we're going to resume processing. Nowhere does it say on that advance parole document, hey, immigration at the border, at the airport, can you please let this person in? They are not obligated to follow that advance parole document. And that's the risk. You should be scared. Sheka, how can I get my kids here if I'm not legal? You can't. There is no process for you to sponsor them. All right, I have to go. I'm already out of time. I've been talking for too long. Let's see. Yes, I would rather have my husband go before me and then file for us because I don't want to leave them. That it's still not the right process, but I understand your reasoning, and that's probably the right thing to do depending on the age of the kids. Okay, that's the one you'll love to hate. I love that one, man. I love your name. All right. Okay, I'll talk to you guys again. I don't even know when I'm scheduled to go live again. I think it's, I don't know, tomorrow or Wednesday. So see you guys then. I can't talk anymore. I have to run. Bye.